In the beginning, the baby was born. God chose Mary to be the mother of God. When the baby looked into the face of the mother Mary, he already saw the cross. And when he looked into the face of the father Joseph, the cross was there too. The mother Mary and the father Joseph held the baby close. They kept the baby warm, and they gave the baby everything the baby needed to grow. And he began to grow. The baby grew and became a boy. When he was about 12 years old, he went with the mother Mary and the father Joseph, and with many other people from their village of Nazareth to the great city of Jerusalem to keep one of the high holy days. When the celebration was over, the people from Nazareth went out through the great high gate and started on the road toward home. Suddenly, Mary and Joseph discovered that Jesus was not there. They hurried back into the great city of Jerusalem to find him. They looked everywhere. Finally, they even looked in the temple, and there he was. He was talking to the rabbis, the priests. When he talked, they listened, because he knew so much. And when they spoke, he listened because he wanted to learn more. Mary and Joseph asked Jesus the question all parents ask their children, the question you can never answer. Why did you do this? And Jesus said something very strange. He said, "Didn't you know I would be in my Father's house?" Mary and Joseph did not understand because their house was in Nazareth, where Joseph's carpenter shop was. They did not understand, but they did not forget. Jesus grew and became a man. When he was about 30 years old, he went to the river Jordan where his cousin John was baptizing people. Do you see John? You can just see the back of his head. He was a wild man. Jesus waded into the river until he was face to face with John. He said, "Baptize me." John looked at Jesus as if for the first time. Now he knew who he really was. "How can I baptize you? You are the Messiah, the one we have been waiting for. You must baptize me." "No," Jesus said, "it is written that you will come before me and prepare the way. Baptize me." Jesus went down into the darkness and chaos of the water. When John lifted him back up into the light, there were people there who said they saw a dove come down from heaven and come close to Jesus. There were also people there that day who said they heard a voice. The voice said, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased." After Jesus was baptized, he went on across the river Jordan and into the desert. He stayed there for 40 days and 40 nights to learn more about who he was and what his work was going to be. While he was in the desert, there was little to eat or drink. One day he heard a voice. It said, "Why don't you turn one of those stones over there into bread and have something to eat?" Jesus said, "No. To be a real human being, we need more than just bread to eat." Suddenly, it was as if Jesus were on top of the great temple in Jerusalem. The voice came back, "If you are really the Son of God, why don't you jump and see if God sends the angels to catch you before you hit the stones below?" Jesus said, "No, we do not need to test God." Then it was as if Jesus could see all the kingdoms of the world. The voice came back again, "If you will follow me, I will make you king over all these kingdoms." Jesus said, "No, I am to be a king, but not that kind of king." Then the voice went away. Jesus went back across the Jordan and began to do his work. But what was his work? His work was to come close to people, especially the people no one else wanted to come close to. See, he has come close to this blind man. He has come so close that he has touched the blind man's eyes. When Jesus came close to people, they changed. They could see things they could never see before. They could do things they could never do before. They became well. Jesus also told parables. Finally, he knew that he had to become a parable. Jesus went to Jerusalem for the last time. It was the time of Passover, and the city was full of people from many different lands. They thought Jesus was coming to be king, but they weren't paying attention. He wasn't riding on a great white horse when he came into the city. He wasn't being carried by soldiers. He was riding on a donkey, and it wasn't even his. He had borrowed it. Still, that Sunday when Jesus came into Jerusalem, people waved palm branches, which were a sign of kings. On Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, Jesus went into the temple to teach. Every night he went back to the Mount of Olives with the 12 disciples. The people watched him and whispered that the Mount of Olives was where angels were supposed to come down to make an army to drive away the Roman soldiers. One day when Jesus was teaching in the temple, he said, "Do you see that old woman over there? She's going to put something in the money box. Listen, do you hear anything?" No. She put the smallest coin that there is in the box. That was all the money she had. Now here comes a rich man. He has so much money to put into the money box that he had to have help to carry it. His money makes a huge clanging and ringing as they pour it into the box. Now I wonder which one really gave the most, the old woman or the rich man? Some said the rich man gave the most. Some said the old woman. The temple guards came and said, "On Thursday we will take him." But on Thursday they could not find him. That evening, Jesus and the 12 disciples hurried through the dark streets to a house. They climbed up the stairs to an upper room and shared their Last Supper together. After they had everything they wanted to eat, Jesus took some bread and gave thanks to God for it. Then he broke it and said something like this: "Whenever you break the bread like this and share it, I will be there." He also took a cup of wine and gave thanks to God for it and said, "Whenever you share a cup of wine like this, I will be there." What was he talking about? He was always saying things like that. How could they know? Still, they did not forget, and later they would understand. Suddenly, Judas got up and left. The rest sang a hymn and then went to the Garden of Gethsemane on the Mount of Olives. Jesus wanted to pray. When he was finished, he joined the 12 disciples. But Judas came out of the dark and greeted him. It was a signal for the temple guards to take him. They too came out of the shadows and took Jesus away with them into the night. The 12 disciples disappeared into the darkness as well. The night was a confusing one. The next day, Jesus was taken outside of the city walls and he was crucified. That afternoon, Jesus died. The sky grew quite dark and Jesus was taken down from the cross and buried in a cave. A great stone was rolled into the opening of the cave to close it like a door. On Saturday, it was so quiet that you could almost hear the earth breathing. On Sunday, it was the women who had the courage to go to the tomb just to be close to him. They wanted to remember, even if it was sad. When they came to the tomb, they found that the stone had been rolled back and the tomb was empty. Jesus had died on the cross, but somehow he was still with them, as he is with us today, especially in the bread and wine. When you look at this side, the crucifixion, you know that the other side is there, Easter. And when you look at this side, you know that there is the crucifixion. You cannot pull them apart. This is the mystery of Easter, and that makes all the difference. And so, the colors change. From purple for Lent, our time to get ready for Easter, to white, pure joy that is Easter. And there's something wrong. There is a beginning and a middle and an end. But look, if we only have this side of the story, we have an end, but we do have this side. The ending is also a beginning. So we can't leave the story just in a line. Let's see what we can do. Now, the story can go on forever.